All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the Mr. Vane Reviews podcast, our first inaugural ever podcast of all time. My name is Kyle Warwood, and I am Mr. Vane. Hopefully, as always, is my co-host, James Marcello. Say hello, James.
Hello.
All right, here we go. So today's episode is going to mainly be about our most anticipated films for the year 2015. Our top 5 that we're most excited to see. And maybe some others that we would like to be up there, but, you know. But first, I want to talk about some of the big news things that have been announced this week. Especially just last night, Sony finally announced that they are going to partner with Marvel and share Spider-Man. That's huge news. It's been all over the internet all day. And it looks like everybody's kind of positive about it. How are you feeling about it, James?
Best thing they could have done ever. Best thing they could have done ever.
It looks like it says they're going to do like a movie, and Marvel's going to help them produce a movie by 2017. That's just 2 years from now. You think they're going to be able to pump out a hit in just 2 years?
A hit in 2 years for the new Spider-Man movie? If it's Marvel helping out, yes. If it was Sony, no. We learned that Sony can't do it.
Yeah, they've made 5 Spider-Man movies, and progressively they've all made less money. So, yep. If anything, we've learned that they've definitely got a long way to go.
Well, Amazing Spider-Man movies are terrible. The original trilogy is amazing.
They were good. I liked the first 2, but that third one was pretty pathetic. Venom was terrible, and
I kind of forget that when I say trilogy, that includes that movie. So.
Yeah, and by then Peter Parker had just become too whiny for me.
Yeah,
or Tobey Maguire. But I'm super excited. I think they're going to do a really good job. I trust Marvel. They've definitely earned my faith, and every time I go to the theater, they've definitely earned my money. They've either churned out mediocre films all the way up to blockbuster hits. So I think I agree with you. It's definitely the best choice they could have made. However, they are not handing out every Spider-Man property, just the web-slinger himself. It looks like when he's going to keep the other rights to the all-female Spider-Man movie they were talking about making, the Sinister Six movie, which they said has been postponed indefinitely, and the Venom movie, which may or may not happen as well.
Yeah.
Are you even looking forward to any of those? Like, were any of those even on? Do you care?
I care not much of Venom movie. I love Venom. But I don't. That's not going to be a good movie. There's no way that's going to be a very good movie. I have a feeling that they have an origin picked out that includes not the symbiote coming detached from Peter Parker, and I think they're going to just go a different route with it. If that is so, then no, that movie's going to be garbage.
Well, yeah, and I mean, we just talked about how Sony hasn't really earned our faith, so we'll see what they do with there.
Oh yeah, I mean, did you hear about one of the other spin-offs? That's a rumor that's still around as a possibility.
Which one?
They're thinking about making an Aunt May movie.
Oh yeah, I was just hoping that was a rumor.
It's still a rumor, but it's a rumor that hasn't gone away. It's not going to happen, but just the thought that they thought that was a great idea.
Oh man. I don't like the idea of Aunt May having any more screen time. Spider-Man 3 was just too much Aunt May time. That whole story about swimming to an island and proposing and, oh god. Those conversations drain me. I go to a Spider-Man movie to watch Spider-Man sling webs, kick butt, be done. And that was like 10, 12 minutes out of my life that I will never get back.
Ever.
Twice. So, but yeah, I'm definitely excited. I think Marvel's going to do a good job. It's rumored he'll have a cameo in Civil War, which is interesting. I wonder if that will change anything. It seemed like before they were going with a different kind of storyline that wasn't so much about identities.
Yeah.
because I recently went back through the Civil War storyline, and that's pretty much what it seems like Spider-Man's role is. He reveals his identity, it causes some problems, paparazzis attack, Mary Jane and him, and then, he kind of plays the pawn of Tony Stark and Captain America, and just gets beat up in the middle of those two, just having their little fit. And it seemed like they could take him out of the Civil War movie and it wouldn't even make much of a difference. But now that he's in it, I'm wondering if they're changing up the storyline, because we didn't even know Civil War was coming until a while ago. It just seemed like it would be Captain America 3, and now, bam, they threw that at us, and the hype has increased.
Oh, indefinitely. Civil War is just such an amazing... Let me rephrase that. It is amazing, but other people who I'm going to deem as not really big comic book people just don't find it a very big deal, and it drives me crazy how they think that. But, that's their thing. I didn't like the New 52, so I can understand.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm excited. Civil War was a big deal. I remember hearing all sorts of people talk about it, whether they were actually reading comic books or not. It just seemed like a cool idea to bring all of the heroes and villains together and have the line not be whether you're good or evil, but which side you stand on, because not a day passes by this country's not arguing about something, whether it be important or new. They argue, and here's one with superheroes, people we love and admire, and I think it will be an incredible movie, even possibly more so. But I mean, if it's just a cameo, who knows if it'll make a difference. But I definitely look forward to a 2017 movie if that's the route they're taking.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to take that route, and thank goodness they have Spider-Man for it. No, I personally think he is the most important fictional character, I guess you can say, on that whole story. If it wasn't for him, I don't think War would have had as big as buzz as it did when it was coming out from the Prince.
Yeah, I agree. He's a pivotal character, and now we can hopefully get the Civil War movie we deserve. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Jupiter Ascending is not doing very well in the theaters.
Oh, no way.
I mean, nobody's really surprised. It was supposed to come out last year, during the primetime fall area where good movies come out, and it got pushed back to February, which for some reason is deemed as the time movies go to die. And it seems like that was a just sentence for Jupiter Ascending, because it's not doing as well as people would have hoped, or at least the Wachowskis. They used to be brothers, now it's the siblings. They've been stated as saying they don't think they'll ever get to make another big budget movie again. I read this interview. It was talking about how they feel like they used to make these big budget kind of artistic films that weren't relying on an already established franchise or some form of a superhero, and it's a dying form. Everybody's trying to just make the next big hit off of something that's already been established.
Oh, that's just a bunch of whining. These are the Wachowski brothers, right?
Yeah, it's the people who made The Matrix.
Yeah.
One of my favorite films as a teenager.
But you have to admit, those last two movies of The Matrix are awful.
Yeah, they definitely weren't great. It stunk that the last one had to end the way it did, only to lead into an MMO that would also fail.
Oh my gosh, it was an MMO, wasn't it? Oh.
Yeah, it happened. They tried to build a story out of it. It failed.
Holy, I remember looking at that box at Walmart when I was in, what was it, junior high?
Yeah, I recall watching the trailer and being excited and then not. But, I mean, so you don't agree. You think that they're definitely just kind of whining that a lot of films get churned out that could definitely be considered art, and they just, they come on saying this only after making a Speed Racer film, which is an established property. that has been around for some time and is probably not popular anymore, but at its peak when it was a cartoon as a child, I'm sure others along with me enjoyed it for the most part, but I remember seeing this CG-heavy movie that they churned out a couple of years ago, and it wasn't really that great. So I feel like, yeah, maybe they're whining a little bit, but at the same time, maybe...
I just feel like it's whining because they said, you told me that they made art, and most of those films that they made are good dying because their movies coming out are established franchises. Look, I haven't seen Cloud Atlas. I don't plan on seeing Cloud Atlas, but The Matrix was not art. I'll give art to the first one, but pretentiousness is not art. And every single movie that I've ever seen them make, except for Speed Racer, has always been some form of pretentiousness to it. Not Cloud Atlas. Jupiter Ascending, I saw one trailer for it, and I was just not impressed at all. It had the Matrix painting all over it with a touch of Cloud Atlas, and it's so... I just knew it was going to fail. I knew it was too big for its own good. That trailer was so big, so spectacle and visual, that it just it was hoping that you would not even question or ask what the story was. And I still don't even know what the story was. And I hate saying this because they made Speed Racer, which failed, but is such a fantastic movie. Breaks my heart.
I only recently watched Cloud Atlas. It's extremely complex. It goes over like 6 or 7 different stories and kind of portrays the idea that your soul reincarnates into these other bodies, whether they be male, female, straight, gay, transgender. It crosses all these different times from colonial times to modern times to futuristic times to deep future. And I watched it twice in 2 days, and the first time was confusing, and the second time was possibly a little better. But it was a good enough film, and I saw the trailer for Jupiter Ascending. I've seen multiples. It just seems as though the story is that Mila Kunis is this princess who's been hidden away, and there's this war that's going to come about over who's going to inherit the earth and be able to siphon the energy from the humans to live for another 1,000 years. And she has to be preserved and live so that she can inherit the earth and preserve the humans. And it didn't really wow me. Also, Channing Tatum's in it, and that man has not impressed me a lot. It makes me nervous that he's going to be Gambit, but I'm hoping that he can pull it off. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Channing, you know what? I'm gonna take back. At first I thought Channing Tatum was just annoying. I saw 22 Jump Street, and I have to say, he was actually really good in that. I was actually impressed. I enjoyed all his scenes. I hated him. Watched that movie. Loved him. I thought he was great. Would I still prefer another Gambit? Yes, totally. I would. I love to recast Gambit, but Channing Tatum, I don't know. I'm still very skeptical about it. I'm not as harsh as I was before, where I'm like, no, I want him out. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll give him a chance, but I will let people know if he was the wrong choice when I see that movie and he does horrible. I won't even hold that back.
All right. I mean, we've still got a little while for that one to come out. There's going to be several hopefully great movies in between now and then, but I'm definitely looking forward to X-Men Apocalypse. They really good with Days of Future Past, so let's hope they do good with this one.
Oh my gosh, that movie was incredible.
Yeah. It was. All right, well, speaking of incredible movies, it's time we move into the main part of the show. We're going to talk about our top 5 movies, most anticipated films for the year 2015. The way we're going to do this is we will each name our number 5, then 4, 3, and so on. And if you feel the need to attack or defend, your point or mine, then just go for it, and vice versa. And then after we've mentioned our top 5, we'll bring in some honorable mentions, movies that probably could or should have made it into the top 5, but for one reason or another they didn't. So, all right, James, why don't you start us off? What would you say your number 5 most anticipated film for the year is?
Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank?
Oh yeah, Ratchet and Clank, baby.
Oh man, that's not even on my list. Go for it. Tell me why it's going to be great.
I think it's going to be great in the way, because if this movie succeeds, we will finally get the notion to Hollywood saying, hey, we like video game movies, but we don't want them to be only live action. They can be animated as well. And I think this is perfect because Sony is not only a filmmaker, but also makes the video games. That's why Ratchet and Clank is very well known. And they are the ones making the movie. And they're getting the writers who actually made the game to write the story. And the animation is just like the game. If you ever played Ratchet and Clank, any game on the PlayStation 3, you're pretty much getting the same quality, if not only better, on the same screen. And I just have the feeling, great. People love Ratchet and Clank. People love video games. People had mixed feelings about video game movies in live adaptations. And don't get me wrong, even if this movie does succeed, we're not going to ditch live action video game movies. I mean, there's still room for that. I love it. But sometimes you just get those games that you wonder why they even made it live action. It doesn't deserve to be live action. It needs to be animated.
Oh, the list could go on and on about video game movies that probably shouldn't have been made.
Oh, totally. Like, Super Mario Brothers. But
that was definitely at the top of my list for movies that looked pretty terrible. But
it's bad, yeah. But Ratchet and Clank, that whole movie, it has so much potential. I saw the teaser trailer for last year. It looks great. It's the same voice actors. It's the game in movie form. I can't even stress that enough. It's going to be, I hope it's going to be incredible. We still have to see. There's still no announcement on when it's going to be released this year. It is set to come out this year, but now we just sit and wait, and hopefully it doesn't get pushed back to 2016. But that's what I think. I think, not much is known about it. Not much has been said, so I can't go into further detail. I can't tell you, like, oh, this is what the story's going to be, and I'm going to elaborate. Just the idea of making this a movie is incredible.
All right. Well, there it is. Ratchet and Clank the movie. I other than video game movies haven't typically done well, I can't see any reason to say it shouldn't be a good movie. Yeah. All right. My number 5 movie is it's going to be Jurassic World. I really liked the first movie, and the second one was done well, but the third one definitely a letdown. And
kinda. It was a letdown.
All right, it was definitely a letdown. And so this one, I still have hope for it. I'm a little bit nervous because it seems like they felt the need to get Chris Pratt into this movie so that it would attract people. He's recently become far more popular than I think he possibly ever anticipated. The Star-Lord role in Guardians of the Galaxy just skyrocketed him to the top. Oh, yeah. And it's possible that he could help turn this franchise around and bring it up. The idea of a genetically altered dinosaur seems pretty cool, and watching him ride a motorcycle with velociraptors was pretty badass too. So I'm giving it a thumbs up. I wasn't sure I wanted it to be in my top 5, but the more I thought about it, the more I read about it, the more I want it to happen. I think it's going to be a good movie, and it's definitely going to be worth going to see in theaters as opposed to waiting until it like hits Redbox and feeling guilty about spending that $1 on it. But what do you think? Jurassic World, yay or nay?
Oh, yay. Oh, totally yay. That movie is going to be good. I can't say too much about it because, I don't want to. It might be on my list, so I don't want to give too much away.
Okay, if it's higher up, it can't be further down. We're at number 5, so all right. Well, then we'll move on so we don't spoil anything. All right, what's your number 4, James?
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon 2.
Well, there we go. All right. By all means, why would you want this to be there on the top 5?
I want this to be on the top 5 because I like the first movie. I watched it as a child, and I didn't like it, obviously. But when I grew up and I watched it again, the story is good. It's nothing special. Most people might disagree with me. I just think the camera work, the shots, the spectacle, the cinematography was just very beautiful in the film. I just love the aesthetic look of it all. Number 2, I'm excited for a number of reasons. One of them may be unfair. Maybe I should have taken it off the list. But one of the reasons why I'm really excited for it is not only are we getting a sequel to a movie that probably doesn't need a sequel, but it's coming out to Netflix for everyone who has a Netflix account to watch, not film distributed. You will never see it in the theater. It's coming straight to streaming, and that is a huge deal because if this movie does well, and I don't see how it won't, most people are just going to make films for Netflix or Amazon instead of the theater. This will change how we watch movies in the future. Not anytime soon. This is the first time we're doing it. And TV shows is, not the same as movies, but we're getting to that feeling where we can watch movies outside of cable television. This is what Crouching Tiger is going to do. If it does well, we could see a new thing happening in the future. And I think that's just good enough for me to be excited.
Well, yeah, Netflix has got those 4 Marvel TV shows coming to it. Daredevil being the first one to come out here pretty soon. And with all that hubbub around the interview, they decided to put it on YouTube and Netflix. And you had to pay to see it on YouTube, but eventually it hit Netflix. And, I didn't bother to watch the movie. It didn't interest me.
I didn't watch it either, but I did see that.
I agree that them coming straight to services like Netflix could be a game changer for the way the industry works, and I'm going to be honest, I don't hate the idea completely. So that sounds good to me. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon Part 2, or number 2. My number 4 is coming out very soon. It's Kingsman: The Secret Service.
Oh, that movie.
I recently got some of the graphic novels and started reading it. It looks a little bit different than the trailers, but I'm still looking forward to seeing it. It's got a lady with prosthetic legs that turn into blades, bulletproof umbrellas. It looks like a spy movie that we haven't seen in a while. If you watched the last James Bond movie, Skyfall, there's that scene with James Bond getting a special gun, and that's it, from the department. And he says, "Oh, what? No exploding pens?" And he just chuckles and laughs. I can't remember the character's name. I want to say it's like number 4 or something.
Oh, it's Q.
It's Q, there we go. He just says, "Oh, no, we don't do that kind of stuff anymore." And when I saw the film, I thought, oh, that's cool. They're going for a grittier, more realistic style Bond style kind of a movie, and I can enjoy that, and I enjoyed Skyfall. It's a great film. I look forward to Spectre. Spoiler alert, it's on my honorable mentions. It looks like it's going to be an awesome movie, but with Kingsman, it's a comic book movie, so they're definitely going for that over-the-top, crazy style of action and spy work. It's going to be awesome. It looks... I mean, it looks a little bit cheesy in the idea that it's a rags to riches story. This kid who's kind of a little thug, he gets pulled into this overly sophisticated school of spies, and he obviously doesn't fit in. This story, told a million times, but in this case, it's with superhuman beings. And so I'm really excited to see it when it comes out here next week, and you'll definitely hear my opinion after we see that.
I had no idea that was a graphic novel.
Oh, yeah. It falls under the same name, Kingsman: The Secret Service. I bought the first little bit off Amazon, and I really enjoyed it. It's pretty sweet. It's also got Samuel L. Jackson in it, who is in everything nowadays.
Yep. He's just that guy now.
So I definitely look forward to that. It's my number 4 spot. And let's go on to number 3. What's your number 3, James?
Terminator Genisys.
Oh, you're not going to believe this. That's my number 3.
Oh, look at that.
All right, we finally got a match. James, why are you excited to see this movie?
Well, I'm excited to see this movie because I'm just going to say this even though it's not a good answer. I'm a huge fan of the Terminator films. I don't care what anybody says. Well, number 3 is bad. I'm not going to dispute that. But Salvation was a good movie. Okay. I know that got a lot of flack. I know there's a lot of in-betweeners. There's no in-betweeners. You either love it or hate it. But it's a really, really good movie. But that's a whole other thing. Terminator Genisys, not only... I saw the trailer, and I was so impressed, but I was also so confused. Confused in a good way, bad way, I'm not sure. But if anyone has seen the trailer, and I imagine that, you should have, the trailer is... The movie is a remake and a reboot, but it's also neither of those. It's not a remake, it's not a reboot, it's also a sequel, but also a remake, and it's also a reboot, because they play... as much as I love time travel can be such a pain in the butt. Time travel with the Terminator movie, especially Genisys coming out, is now, from the trailers hinting, we have an Arnold Schwarzenegger that went back in time to the most asked question of the franchise. Oh, well, why don't the Terminators just send back someone to kill Sarah Connor when she was a kid? That's a very valid question, and they never answered that in the films. Ever. So, a lot of theories have been going around. My favorite theory is, Skynet and the human race found a way to send back someone through time, but not at a specific date. It's more like a, I guess, warp zone. I guess you can say a time displacement. They don't really know time travel well. They can just manipulate what they find and hope for the best. A time space pocket, whatever. It's wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. But other than that, it answers that question, because in the trailer you see Terminator 2 style Arnold Schwarzenegger carrying away what I assume is a young Sarah Connor who was almost assassinated from another Terminator, which we see in an explosion in the ground when they're walking away. The trailer, and that's why I'm so confused. I might be thinking too much of it, but I'm thinking it might be the first movie of its kind where it is all 3 in 1, but is also neither.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. From what I've read and seen, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, gets sent back to save her as a child, and then a lot of the movie seems to focus on a Terminator 2 Judgment Day, where they get the T-1000, the liquid metal.
The best one. Oh my gosh, that third Terminator from the third movie was just garbage. Liquid, solidified metal, whatever.
Yeah, the third one was definitely a weird one, but it seems like they're just going to focus on the first 2, which, garnered the best reviews and got the most attention, and they're going to rework those. Arnold Schwarzenegger's super old, so I was a little bit nervous when they first said, yep, he's coming back again. But the trailer has instilled faith in me, and I believe it's going to end up being a good film that hopefully spawn more sequels, maybe. I don't know. Do we need more Terminator films after this?
We need more Terminator films after this. You can not have enough Terminator films after this. That's just my opinion. I really think Salvation might have been a bad movie, but at least it proved you can have a Terminator movie without the real Schwarzenegger being there. And I say real because we got a CGI effect of him, which was awesome. And it looked really good at the time. But it was really, really mind-blowing. More Terminator movies? Why not? That's what Salvation tried to go. We can explore the war between the humans and Skynet, which we haven't seen. Salvation kind of touched on that, but is mainly about the android instead of what was going on between Skynet and the humans and John Connor. Or, maybe it might be... I would love more Terminator films. I think they still have potential. And there's a whole nother story we can do with that. Plus with time travel, yeah. I think we could use more Terminator movies. Good ones, at least. Not more of... not more of 3.
Well, they've got to actually pump out a quality one.
Yeah, which really, what I'm confused about is, so they got the T-1000 there. Why didn't they get the original actor to play the T-1000? Now, I don't know, I haven't read up on what he's doing. For all I know, he could be dead.
The guy who played the T-1000 in Terminator 2?
Yeah.
He's super old as well. He's actually in the trailer. There's a really, really short scene where they're like busting through a wall, and he's this older gentleman on the left. So he's not coming back because he probably doesn't want to or can't physically handle the action. And so they've chosen another actor to take that role.
Well, I guess that makes sense. I don't know. I just would really love to see him. I understand why Arnold do it, even though he's old. I mean, he's Arnold. I don't care how old he gets. I have a feeling he'd be 90 and still acting in these movies. That's just wishful thinking, though.
All right, well, there we go. It's Terminator Genisys, the number 3 for both of us, so definitely fell right there in the middle, probably where it belongs. It's not probably going to be the greatest movie this year, but it hopefully won't be the worst.
It won't be the worst. If anything, it'll be a really good summer flick.
Yeah, there you go.
We're not going to get James Cameron Judgment Day Terminator 2. We will never have that again. But at least we have that movie. But it'll be a really good movie. I really have faith in it. I would be really sad if it's bad.
All right, well, let's move on to number 2, James. What is your number 2 film?
Oh, number 2 film would be... Let's see. It's kind of a tie. I'm still debating between it, but I guess I'm just gonna have to choose one.
You gotta pick one.
I'm going to say Avengers: Age of Ultron.
How dare you?
Hey, I'm excited for that movie. It may not have as much surprise anymore, but I'm just glad we're past the first one where it's like, okay, now we gotta get these people together and have a different fight. We gotta make it uplifting. This movie looks dark. And it's directed by Joss Whedon, who I understand why he made the first one campy. You want to be safe with the first one. But with the second movies on any trilogy, it's always darker. And with Ultron, it's the perfect opportunity to be dark. Ultron, the robot created by Hank Pym, who's not going to be created by Hank Pym in this movie, man, he's very devious looking. You cannot tell me when you see that trailer, he does not look menacing.
Well, and then they got James Spader to voice him, who sounds menacing, so they've definitely double whammied us with look and sound for Ultron. He is one of the most diabolical and powerful Avengers villains.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be awesome.
He's going to be great. I don't like what Marvel has done with him now in comics. He seems like a joke. But at least with this movie, he's going to get the respect he deserves. Movie. I have faith in it. It's going to be good. It's definitely going to be good. There's no question about that. But just the aspect that they're introducing, I want to say mutants, but we can't say mutants. The Inhumans, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver, adding that whole other aspect into it. I'm really excited to see Scarlet Witch. I'm not excited to see Quicksilver, and that might be because Days of Future Past's Quicksilver was amazing and really funny to watch. And I'm really holding this new I don't even know his name. I know he was in Godzilla, and I know he was Kick-Ass in Kick-Ass. He needs to top that other Quicksilver in X-Men, or otherwise this isn't going to fly. But the whole movie in general, with its darker tones, I'm excited to see Hawkeye. I think Hawkeye is going to be in this one a lot more. He needed to be in the first one a lot more, but they put him as a villain, mind-controlled, of course, and we didn't really get to see much of him. I feel like this is the opportunity where we're going to see more of the Hawkeye and Black Widow characters that didn't really get much screen time. That's just me. I could go on, but this one has been talked to death so much that I'm just going to leave it as number 2.
All right. For the guy you're looking for, his name's Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Thank you.
He'll play Quicksilver. Did you by chance get to read the little prequel comic for Age of Ultron that Marvel just pumped out last week?
No, I don't do that whole freaking... I hate that stuff so much.
Well, this one, it gives you a little bit of a sneak peek into the Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch characters. They are... they're really just... You see them in the trailer as part of a crowd kind of rioting, and what's going on is Baron von Strucker has stolen the scepter of Loki and is using a shield lab to perform experiments on humans. And I can't remember, it's the country that they're from. I can't remember what it is, but all these people volunteer to gain the powers of the Avengers, or like the Avengers, so that they can help their country. And it's insinuated that everybody else dies, and that the staff really just unleashes the inhuman powers within them. And that's really all it is. It's a really short comic. It was pretty good. It would contain spoilers. I guess I should have put a spoiler alert tag there, but...
Look what you've done.
I guess if you're listening to this podcast, you should have already known this stuff. It's out there, but if not, we're sorry. We'll work on our spoiler alert stuff. This is only the first episode. Cut me some slack.
I will cut you no slack.
All right, fine. Okay. My number 2 movie, it's probably your number 1. I put Star Wars The Force Awakens here.
Oh, and you were giving me crap for it.
I would like to take this moment to defend my decision as to not give it the number 1 spot. The first 3 Star Wars films were done well. For their time, they were spectacles and had no equal. But now you can definitely tell they're dated. That doesn't diminish their quality, but they're old. The prequels were way too CG heavy.
Oh, yeah.
And were not great. And they just, I want to say progressively got worse, but it's hard to get worse than Jar Jar Binks. So,
I don't know, man. That forced romance in Attack of the Clones. I would take Jar Jar any day. No, watching people with no chemistry is awful. I don't hate them. I'm just bored out of my freaking mind. At least when I hate Jar Jar, I'm engaged. I'm like, oh, I hate that person. And I watch the film in hopes that he would die. These 2 people, Padme and Anakin, I know they're not going to die. And I know the film is just going to drag out. And there's nothing I can do about it. But I'm not...
Possibly the reason that the prequels also didn't do so well is that you knew exactly where they were going to go, and so it didn't matter what story they told. You knew how it was going to end, and so there wasn't a whole lot to look forward to other than the in-between stuff, which also was not that great. But, however, J.J. Abrams is a good director.
I disagree with that.
I like some of his films.
I don't.
Oh, you are killing me. I think he did a good job bringing Star Trek back. The first one was done well enough to keep old fans interested and somewhat satisfied, but to bring new people in. However, the second Star Trek movie was not as great, and the whole it's not Khan, but it is Khan stuff,
stupid.
Back and forth before the movie ever came out, and then in the film. It really frustrated me, so it leaves me a little bit of doubt.
I can tell you plot holes for that movie
for days, but with Star Wars The Force Awakens, I've seen enough to be interested. We're not going to get into the lightsaber debate because I just don't care about it.
I don't have any problems with it either.
I just think it's a lightsaber. People think it's a big deal. It's one lightsaber. If you've read the comics, older lightsabers used to have a cable connected to them to a battery pack that was on a belt, and you couldn't do the fancy stuff you do now. So the history of lightsabers is just ridiculous and rife with what could be controversy to people if they bothered to read them, but they just saw the trailer and threw a fit.
Everybody loves to throw fits.
Oh yeah, that's the internet. Welcome to it. But it's at number 2 because I feel we have been burned before by the Star Wars franchise, and this film is its chance to earn back the trust of the people that they did not treat so well with the prequels. That's why I have it there. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I will probably be there with most of the people shortly after it comes out to watch and hopefully enjoy it. But it does not get my number 1 spot because there have been stumblings before. Who's to say this isn't going to be a huge flop?
Exactly.
All right. Well, that brings us to the. Nope, we're gonna hold it off. Our number 1 movies, although you can probably anticipate what they're going to be at this point, have to wait just a moment. I'm going to talk about some honorable mentions, movies I feel should have made it into the top 5 or could have, or at least will be fairly good movies, but I just can't decide whether or not they'll be as good as these ones. And you can tell me whether or not you want to watch them, how you feel about them, but we'll just kind of knock them out. We won't discuss them in depth. Just talk about them briefly. So my first one is Ant-Man. I think it's a weird choice that they put it after Avengers.
Yeah.
But there's the whole Hank Pym not creating Ultron in this universe. It's a different universe, so stuff can change. I'll allow it. The trailer was weird because the director and the main actor are both comedy. They are known for their comedic work, and this trailer seemed really serious. And they said it was going to be kind of a comedy, but there were only about 2 points where you could have chuckled, and they were both when Paul Rudd spoke. So, I don't know. I'm still going to go watch it. I still think it'll be a good movie, but it is not worthy of the top 5.
I agree. I'll go watch it. I have hopes for it. I really think this is going to be I think this is going to be the first truly bad Marvel movie. That is what I'm saying. Thor, say what you will, at least it was slightly entertaining. I think Ant-Man is just going to be bad.
All right.
Especially since they had to switch directors.
Yeah, that also does not bode well for it, but we'll see. All right, next on the list is Tomorrowland. It's been on a lot of people's top 5 lists, but I just don't...
I will be honest with you. What is Tomorrowland?
Oh my gosh. It is another movie that is based off of a Disney ride of sorts. It's not quite so Pirates of the Caribbean, but it has George Clooney, so it's got a well-known actor. He's established. He's not usually in awful movies. But, okay, we'll skip that quote.
Yeah.
But, basically, there's this world that is extremely futuristic. The trailer's just really odd in that a juvenile girl is just getting out of juvie hall or wherever it is she's leaving, and the guy behind the counter is giving her back her possessions. One of them is a Tomorrowland pin. It's got this weird-looking T, and as soon as she touches it, she's immediately transported to a field of wheat, freaks out, and then picks it back up and realizes where she's... The movie could be about anything. I haven't looked into it too much, but I just don't see the interest being there because films based off of Disney rides, sure, the first Pirates of the Caribbean was interesting, but everything after that has just fallen apart, and so I don't have a lot of faith in it. The next one on here, you can like it or hate it, Fast and the Furious 7, that's
hate
right,
it.
The 7th one.
Hate it.
You're not going to go see it?
Why would you put that on the honorable mentions?
I feel a little bit bad that Paul Walker is dead.
Don't tell me that's the reason why.
I also enjoy Jason Statham as an actor. I think he's pretty funny and witty at the same time as being a total bamf. So, because I think it's fun to now see him as a villain, as opposed to just one of the guys who's shooting people up for a good cause. Also in this one, he's already the established villain, whereas in a movie like War that he did with Jet Li, you don't realize he's a sort of a bad guy until the very end, and it was kind of weird. But I put Fast and the Furious 7 on there because it's one of those well-established franchises that has gotten better, and this one could be good, although the trailer looks a little over-the-top crazy.
I think it's gotten worse. But every time it's got worse, it just makes more money. It just
exactly. And the director for the last few is going to direct the next Star Trek. I feel like they wouldn't do that if they didn't trust him.
You get writers for anything these days, apparently.
All right.
Writers that flop with movies, and they still direct big ones.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. We'll just get through them. Ted 2.
Oh, yeah.
The first one was pretty funny, even though the teddy bear, Ted, just sounds like Peter Griffin. I feel like Seth MacFarlane could change the voice a little. I don't know. But I really like the first one. I love all the Flash references and the fact that the actor actually shows up in the movie and he's going to marry Ted in this next one. He's the officiating minister or whatever you call it. I like a lot of these actors. They're pretty funny people. It's obviously going to be a lot of toilet humor and something you probably don't want to bring the kids to, but it looks like it could be good. So
I'm taking my brother to go see it.
There you go.
He's
all
9.
Right. Oh, good Lord. All right, moving on. The next one, I feel like this one definitely should have been in the top 5. It like teeters on the edge. Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I remember the last Mad Max movie, and I was impressed. I was intrigued when they decided to bring back the franchise. Tom Hardy, as long as he doesn't use his Bane voice, will probably be great in this film, and it's probably going to be rated R. There in the trailers, it seems like there's a lot of blood and spikes. These people really like to put spikes on their cars, so...
It's that time, man.
The future where we fight for gas and water, the only thing to do is put more spikes on your car.
Representation of flares. Look how many spikes I got. Give me that gas.
All right, then, here we go. The last one I've got on this list, though there could be countless more, is 50 Shades of Grey. I'm kidding. I'm not.
I was about to walk.
I wouldn't put that on this
about
list.
almost done.
I'm so shocked that it's going to be even made, but whatever, I just, quick mention on that is that I saw one of those meme things on Facebook where they said that women are too classy for pornography, but they'll read the heck out of it. And that's all I'm going to say on 50 Shades of Grey. That is not part of this podcast. The real last movie on honorable mentions recently just had its trailer released, Fantastic Four. Again. It has been in secrecy for so long, and everybody I've talked to is 100% sure it's going to be a terrible film.
There was no secrecy behind it. They were always going to do it.
Well, no, we knew they were going to do it, but they didn't bother to release a trailer. There weren't any leaked photos other than the two of Dr. Doom looking like he had garbage bags melted to him. They were green screening him. I don't know if you saw them. But it just looked awful. That was all we saw of that movie. And so all you could think was that they're going to do as terrible a job with this one as they did before. It still looks like it may not be the greatest film ever, but I'm hoping that they're able to, I don't know, pick it back up.
It won't.
Out of the ground, and hopefully we can...
The only only interesting character in the entire Fantastic Four franchise, if you ask me, and I'm going to say a lot of us too, is Victor Von Doom. The Fantastic Four is nothing without Doom. Doom is the most interesting Fantastic Four character ever. He's so good that he just broke away from Fantastic Four in the comics, and now he's everybody's problem. Doom is incredible. Doom, they're going to butcher in this movie, and I'm going to hate this movie because of that. Did you hear? I hope this is fake, and if it is fake, someone please tell me it is. But the whole character for Dr. Doom in this one, his new origin story, is that he is a hacker.
He's a hacker, yep.
A teenage hacker who he doesn't a doctorate. Therefore, he cannot be called Dr. Doom, and Doctor is seriously needed in that name. Otherwise, you just got Doom.
Well, his name isn't even Von Doom in this one. It's something entirely different. I believe he just changes his name.
Seriously?
All right. That obviously is one that kind of let you down, isn't it?
It always let me down. It's Fantastic Four. It's just, we can go on. I don't want to talk about this movie.
Oh gosh. All right. Okay, then we'll move on to our number ones for the year 2015. James, go ahead and go first. What is your number one movie?
Oh, you know what my number one movie is.
Oh, man. Palm. Here we go.
Jurassic World.
What? It's really your number one?
It's really my number one.
Oh, my gosh. You have surprised me.
I know.
Okay, it was my number 5. I feel bad. Why on earth did you put it as number 1?
Number 1 for Jurassic World. Why did I put it on there? The whole trailer is so fantastic looking. If anything they got right that really earned my respect and just plopped it to number 1 is the trailer. And the specific thing about the trailer that I wish Hollywood would start doing again, because they never did it around the 90s, but now it's had a terrible trend. And what I mean is, throughout the entire trailer, we know, and there is hints, and there is evidence, that there is a genetically modified dinosaur, which is a whole nother thing I'll talk about soon, but there's a genetically modified dinosaur made by humans, and, go figure, and genetically modified, what else is going to be made by, but whatever. And the thing about the trailer, when I was watching it, there was a lot of things that excited me, but I just knew, watching that trailer, I said to myself, all right, what's the dinosaur going to look like? Oh, here we go. We're going to see what it looks like. Oh, this is what it looks like. And then when the trailer was over, I did not. It didn't show the dinosaur and how it looked like at all. The surprise is there. We know that there's a dinosaur that has been made by people, and we don't know what it looks like. That is the most clever, obscene, brilliant move on a trailer I have ever seen. Because if you watch trailer these days, they give away the surprise. They tell the story. They tell the ending. The whole story is found in the trailer. This one, we know what the story is. Yeah, dinosaurs attack the park. But the main event is, what does this dinosaur look like? And doesn't that just make you want to go see the movie? You may know everything else about it, but the dinosaur you don't. And you need to go see the movie to see what that dinosaur is like. It may be the most terrible, stupid, idiotic looking thing when we see it. But as of right now, the possibility, just leaving it up to our imagination, whether that be for good or worse, is amazing. That trailer blew me away by how it did not give away the dinosaur and its look and its appeal. That made me so excited. Why I'm so excited for this movie. Out of all other movies, just to see this surprise. Not only that, though, we get a movie that's super close. It's basically Jurassic Park 1. You know, we have a park, and then we're obviously going to have the dinosaurs escape and do more rampage and ruckus. That's not a bad thing. People love Jurassic Park 1 because of that. And they're just doing that all over again with new things. It's going to be successful because of that. That's all we want to see is just dinosaurs attacking and eating people. That's all we want. That's all we ever needed. And that's why it was still good. Two is good. Number 3 is just there's too much emphasis on characters. And character building is important, but when you have dinosaurs, there are some movies you can just leave out the character development and just watch for the whole spectacle of it. And that's what this whole movie is. We have new dinosaurs. We got sea creatures. That one dinosaur, which I don't know, so please don't get mad at me, but it eats the shark.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge. It's massive. When they even showed that part, before they even got to the mention of a genetically modified dinosaur, that moment in the trailer, I'm going to bet money, made people eyes wide open. It just widened our eyes. It just made us take a deep breath, be like, oh my goodness, what was that? That's a whole nother thing. I want to see that. I want to see what happens with it. I really hope someone dies by that dinosaur. I would love to see it. I want more of that. I don't care if I see only 5 minutes of the movie. I want to see it. Not just that shot, but in others. Then you got Chris Pratt, the Star-Lord. He's going to be good in it. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some comedy into it. You can't have Jurassic Park without. Of course, it's not going to be a comedy, but you got to have those little jokes in there as well. And you're right. That shot where he is riding with the raptors into who knows what. A lot of people hate that part. I say lighten up. It's just a cool shot. Just enjoy a shot, okay? No, they're not going to team up. These are dinosaurs. Most likely they are running away from something, just like Chris Pratt is. Or they could, and they're both probably running towards the same destination, which is, I don't know, get the hell out of this vicinity before this other monster or dinosaur comes and eats us. I'm just that dinosaur has me super excited. I cannot wait to see what it is. And they built it up so much. It can jump on over huge fences. It's super strong. I would not mind. Okay, so number 3, everyone got pissed off that the Spinosaurus just demolished and destroyed the T-Rex. No one wants to see that. No one wants to see this newcomer. I have no problem with this new dinosaur, whatever it may be, if it killed a T-Rex. Just to prove how badass it is. Oh, I'm so excited for that movie. I'm going to shut up now.
All right, you've made your point. Jurassic World's your number 1. All right, my number 1 movie shouldn't come as any surprise. It wasn't any of the previous 4, so here we go. My number 1 is Avengers: Age of Ultron, and
you're giving me crap for it for putting it in second. What is? Explain.
Allow me to defend my point. I like Joss Whedon. Not everything he's done has been perfect, but he did well with the first one. I have faith he will do very well with this one. Marvel, like I said earlier, either does anywhere from mediocre to phenomenal films. They haven't done anything bad yet, although, as you say, Ant-Man might change that. However, this will come out before then, so my point stands. Ultron is one of the most formidable foes the Avengers have ever faced. Joss Whedon said once before that he wanted to do Ultron as the first Avengers villain, but Marvel already had their ideas of where they wanted to go, so he said, fine, I'll direct this movie, but only if you let me make Ultron the next villain. And here we are. He's been looking forward to this. It seems like he was way more excited to do Age of Ultron than he was Avengers, so I'm not saying he, did a terrible job or like only half-heartedly did the first Avengers, but this one feels like it's going to come at us. It's going to blow us away. It's going to leave us wanting more. And also, it has my favorite Avenger, the Vision, although we haven't seen anything at all other than artwork.
Yeah, that's right. We haven't seen much of him at all, which totally made me forget that he was in the movie.
Yeah, he's there. Paul Bettany's going to do it, which he's done the Jarvis voice, so it's... He'll do well. I think he'll do a great Vision. I really like Vision. I think he's got a cool set of powers. I think it's cool that he's, an android. I wonder if they will put his and Scarlet Witch's relationship from the comics in this film. I doubt it, but who knows?
I really don't.
It would be weird, but they're making some changes like the whole Inhumans thing, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Marvel has not been like other companies or directors have done before.
Like DC.
Oh man, we can't even get there. we don't have the time for that on today's show. We're already past an hour, but Marvel's got me. They've got me hooked. I'm gonna go see this movie. I will be there at midnight watching it with everyone else.
I'll be there with you.
They have hyped it just the right amount. All I want between now and then is to just see what Vision is going to look like. I just really want to see it so that I can see what they're doing with my favorite Avenger. The other guys are great, but I just think he's a cool character to have in it. They've got a crazy long all-star cast, multiple characters, and the trailer, while it revealed a lot, only helped bring more questions because I've watched it over and over again, and I just can't interpret everything because some of it is still mysterious, like that lady standing by the pool of water. We don't know if she's from Wakanda or if she's the incarnation of death. I've heard a few theories on that, and it sounds cool, but I don't know if anyone has the rights on her. I know she's really big in the Deadpool universe because they have a thing, because he can't die, but she's all about death, and he's ugly, and she doesn't care because she's pretty ugly too. But it's probably with Marvel, who knows, because at the Avengers, when they did that Thanos reveal, they mentioned that to resist the humans would be to court death, and Thanos, the vast majority of the time, is infatuated with death, the personification of death, the female version. Because, so, which, I mean...
I also heard that we're going to see a cameo of Black Panther in the movie.
It's been rumored as well. Who knows? Currently, he's not credited on the cast, but that could change. Who knows? The list is so long going through the cast list, but I just don't see it happening. Although it was mentioned earlier, I can't remember how long ago, Idris Elba, the guy who plays Heimdall in the Thor movies, said that he was going to be in the post-credit teaser, and assuming that he'll be in there and there will be some kind of reference to Thor Ragnarok and probably the Black Panther movie. You do see soon to be Ulysses Claw, only briefly in the trailer, played by Andy Serkis. Nope, he is credited as Ulysses Claw, so it's definitely him.
Oh boy!
So there possibly could be stuff, but it's also, he's definitely confirmed. It's got other people rumored, like Anthony Mackie coming back as Falcon. We don't know. Looks like Lou Ferrigno will voice the Hulk again.
Good.
Bunch of fun stuff. Yeah. Why not? He was the original Hulk. He might as well continue onward. I couldn't say enough about this movie, so I'll just try to wrap here. It is my number one film for the year. It's an established everything. It's an established franchise. Marvel hasn't done a great job with all of their movies. Marvel Studios, Joss Whedon, he can do it. And that's why it's my most anticipated film. I can't wait to see it. And yeah, there we go. Those are my top 5.
That's a good top 5.
Thank you. I agree. Yours is well done too. Some of them weren't ones I anticipated seeing on there. The Ratchet and Clank movie being one I was surprised by, even more so than Jurassic World being your number 1. But without a confirmed date, who knows when we're gonna get that? Yeah. There we go. It looks like there will have a lot of phenomenal movies. So
that's the dream. I'm hoping they're good. They could be all terrible.
Oh, yeah.
But the best one is 50 Shades of Grey.
Yep, that was pretty much our number 1 movie. The secret number 1 movie.
We just didn't want to say it.
Yep, there you go. Guys, we're secretly into whatever that movie's about.
Oh, BDSM, there's nothing like it.
I have no idea what any of that is, and we probably won't talk about it.
I'll show you.
I don't want to see it. This is a clean podcast.
Clean?
You may hear a few swear words, but we're never going to talk about anything that's...
It's true.
50 Shades of Grey. Folks will never do that to you. All right, so there we go. Unless there's anything else you want to say to the fine folks who will hopefully listen to this first podcast, James.
Thank you so much. If there's anything feedback-wise that you'd like to share, please let us know. We'd really like to know.
Is there anywhere they can contact you at, or would you just like me to give them the regular business contacts?
You can give the regular business. I'm going to have to make an email later. I don't want to...
You don't even have email. All right.
I don't.
Folks, you can definitely contact us on Facebook, the Mr. Vane Reviews page. We just got it up, so go ahead, like it, give us feedback on the podcast. There's also a link to a website I'm currently building. It's live. You can definitely go see it. And as soon as I can get a domain and everything set up, it'll change. But right now, I have a link at the Facebook page. You can download the podcast there, listen to it there. It's also here on YouTube. You can just go ahead and leave comments in the comment section below. And should we ever get Twitter, we'll probably put some stuff up there. But
I've had to learn Twitter now. I didn't even have a Twitter.
I have one, but it's only to follow other people. So you can catch me at Vane Demise if you're dying to get me now. Just VINDEMIZE. Go for it. All right. Well, that's it. I guess goodbye, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.